episode number 7. The card is going to change, presented by AIW, Absolute Intense Wrestling, based in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio, and sponsored by Smart Mark Video and the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show. Make sure to subscribe to the show, leave a comment, rate on iTunes, Stitcher, and the Google Play Store. Follow AIW on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and visit AIWrestling.com for events, merch, and more. I am your host, Glenn Moore, and joining me in studio, like always, co-owners of AIW, John Thorne and Chandler Biggins. The premise for this show are road stories, miles and miles of road for AIW. There are stories that are still being echoed along the turnpike and highways here around Cleveland, Ohio, and also the northeast portion of the country. Let's get into it, guys. I want to hear these stories. I want to hear some of the notable guys that maybe you guys have worked with and traveled the road with, and I'm sure the hilarious, maybe obscene stories that have taken place when AIW is on the road.
Well, we can say some of this. Some of this, I'm not sure if the statute of limitations is up on. I think we'll start out. We used to travel and run shows in the Detroit area in a town called Taylor, Michigan, which the residents of Taylor, Michigan call it Taylor-Tucky. The capital of this town is the Red Roof Inn and the Hooters in the same parking lot, and that definitely was the central area for the wrestlers hanging out. So we did 3 shows in the greater Taylor area. I believe 2 in Taylor and 1 in Wyandotte, Michigan, which is like the next suburb over.
Two of which will have never ever been released.
Yeah, 2 of them are not existent. But we had the Honky Tonk Man in for one of them, one of the shows that never got released. It was June 23rd, 2007, and maybe on a future episode we'll explain why that's significant. But we had the Honky Tonk Man in, and we were staying at the 4.5-star Red Roof Inn, the greatest establishment in Taylor, Michigan. And at the time, Thorne and his girlfriend at the time and I...
It wasn't my girlfriend. It was like a date. That was a date.
It was a date? Wow.
That was like our first date. Let's go on the road with AIW. I got a room at the Red Roof.
So it was a horrible day.
Oh, my God.
It was a horrible day.
We ended up dating for years, man. It was great.
Yeah?
Love my life.
Horrible day. Horrible night.
She's married now.
So Thorne and I were going to blow off some steam and go to the only restaurant that was open at 2 in the morning, which was White Castle.
How do you fucking remember this shit, dude?
Because it was a rough night.
Fuck.
So Honky Tonk Man and the entire AIW roster at the time are at the Red Roof Inn. And a couple guys had gone to the bar and brought back a couple ladies.
Rats for those
Rizats.
For those who aren't hip to the industry terms.
Now, Taylor, Michigan, I don't want to, bury it too bad, but it was Taylor-Tucky. I think the girls tipped the scales very high. There was a lot of barbed wire arm tattoos, and there's a lot of sharing of wallet photos of children.
Oh man, what about that stripper from the other time?
Oh, that's another story. So, I'm very particular about my hotel rooms. This is something that I've often been ribbed about and made fun of because I am very weird about people touching my bed if I'm staying in a hotel. Like, I don't even like people sitting on it.
But he doesn't realize what has fucking probably happened on that bed
before
in the
he
hotel
got
room.
there. Yeah,
But I didn't.
You would think this motherfucker would show up with a. Stop your shouting, man! You're throwing the levels off.
Sorry,
but I
get excited.
You would think this fucking guy would show up with a fucking blacklight with how he treats any hotel room. This could be 1-star fucking like falling apart motel room on the side of the road. This dude is
like, let's say the Extended Stay America.
Insane. You're thinking about the America's Best Value. That's what you meant to say.
Oh yeah.
But he's fucking insane about things going on in his room. You would think he fucking lived there.
Which I do watch a lot of Gordon Ramsay Hotel Hell. But so anyways, we're at White Castle and we're in this line that's around the block.
What a fucking weird plug that was, by the way. Gordon Ramsay Motel Hell.
I love Gordon Ramsay. Shout out to Gordon.
Okay.
So anyways, we're at this hotel, or they're at the hotel, the roster, with the Honky Tonk Man and these ladies.
And I'm taking my soon-to-be girlfriend on a hot date to White Castle with Chandler Biggins.
I'm the third wheel. So I'm getting these texts from, if anything, workers love to stooge on other workers to the promoters. And everybody keeps saying, Biggins, they're fucking up your room. And I go, what are you talking about? And they're like, the whole roster's in your room and they're fucking it up. And I go, what? Because I paid for my own room and I don't think anybody else,
everything else was like on AIW.
But I specifically got my own room because I have to have my own bed.
And I got my own room because I was on a first date.
Hot date.
I was on a first date with a young lady.
So we're stuck in this line, and I'm having almost a panic attack in the car because I'm like, they're fucking up my room, man. We got to get back because we're probably about 10 minutes away from the hotel. And
dude is in tears with anger, like so angry that somebody's in his room. And then somebody sends a text that they're fucking a girl in your bed.
Man.
In my bed.
Is that politically correct, or should I say having sexual relations?
Intercourse.
Are we gonna get bad reviews for saying fucking?
And while the Honky Tonk Man watched. It was a cuckold situation.
Oh my god. I don't know if we should be saying this.
So anyways, we get back to the hotel, and I am not a physical fighter of any kind. But I hand John Thorne my keys, my wallet, and my eyeglasses, and I said, please bail me out of jail.
Which is the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard from him. Because he does not get angry whatsoever.
So I run up to my room, and I'm not a runner either, but I was moving like a motherfucker.
Jeez.
I get in my room, and I push the Honky Tonk Man behind me, and I'm screaming at everybody, and I'm nose to nose with people. And
while there is a hefty young lady in said hotel room,
in my bed,
in his bed, with various members at the time
of the 2007 AIW roster.
Yes, getting it in.
So I'm freaking out, and Honky Tonk Man is behind me, and this is the best part of the story. Honky Tonk Man keeps going.
But I must say, the Honky Tonk Man says he will not cheat on his wife, but he will just watch other people do fucked up shit.
So Honky Tonk Man is behind me. And he turns babyface. He starts going, what the fuck, guys? This is the promoter's room. Fuck you guys. What are you doing in here? I came in here to yell at you guys.
Yeah, so totally just to keep himself a potential future booking, the Honky Tonk Man
just fucking bailed on the whole roster.
Just turns on everybody, which was quite the sight to see because Chandler Biggins, I have drunkenly punched in his face before, and he has not gotten mad.
Not at all. I was like, are you okay, man?
He's never, ever, ever angry or physical, but to the point that the Honky Tonk Man is watching professional wrestlers fuck a girl in his hotel bed. That is the fucking straw that breaks it all, is a girl getting fucked in his bed.
That wasn't by me.
That wasn't by him.
By a whole roster of wrestlers.
Oh, my goodness.
So they end up, her and a couple of wrestlers lock themselves in my bathroom, and I'm trying to get the door open with my shoulder and then kicking it, which why I would destroy my own bathroom door.
It's out the window at this point.
Then some of the wrestlers had brought a guy with them, like their buddy, and he tries to be the voice of reason, and I threaten to murder him by throwing him off a balcony. I go, who the fuck are you? Get out of my way.
Yeah, so anyway, the Honky Tonk Man turns babyface. Chandler Biggins, I think, ends up sleeping in his car that night.
No, that was another night in Michigan.
Yeah, well, what about the time Jake the Snake bought crack in your car in Michigan?
Yeah, and then made Tom Dunn go get a baking powder.
And a hot plate.
Hot plate.
Yeah, the Snake Man.
And the hotel said that Jake the Snake ordered 24 hours worth of porn for a 24-hour trip.
Yeah, but he's fucking back on the wagon now. Just watch the doc.
4 hours of porn.
Just watch the doc on Netflix.
Yeah.
He's back. But yeah, he did order 24 straight hours of pornography, which was in our hotel room. And somebody else had their credit card down for the incidentals. And that was quite the hefty porn bill he racked up.
So anyways, everybody babyfaced me. Everything was fine, except for one member of the roster got on my face at Bob's Big Boy breakfast buffet the next day. But it was quickly smoothed over. But Michigan was a crazy time. Another time in Michigan, the time I slept in my car, there was a wrestler that Facade fell asleep in my bed, so Thorne covered him in everything in the room, and then convinced me I would have to pay incidentals of $800.
Okay, you don't even have to fucking pretend like I didn't cover him in pages of the Bible, and I convinced Biggins that Bibles cost $800 for hotels, and he lost his fucking mind that time.
I'm not a big drinker, but that night I had partaked.
But yeah, so these Michigan trips, there was only 3 of them, but they were all probably the reason why we stick to Cleveland, Ohio these days. Something fucked up happened on all of them.
Oh well,
the one time, like the Detroit chapter of the Bloods came after myself, Matt Morgan, and Corey Graves, amongst other people, because Matt Morgan decided to flick a lit cigarette at a pregnant woman.
That was also the time that we had a stripper that was like a manager of some of the guys on the show, and her and another girl got in a fight at the strip club, or not the strip club, the bar, the after party bar, and ripped each other's tops off and had a topless brawl, like a fist fight and clawing at each other.
It was like a fucking straight to DVD National Lampoon's fucking movie.
And meanwhile, Elix Skipper's just walking around being the coolest guy ever.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Some guy paid us to book Elix Skipper. It was so fucking weird.
And then, so we get escorted by the security back to a Hummer limo to take us back to the Red Roof Inn, because this bar was convinced we were like the best federation in the world.
Yeah, fuck, man. Especially at that time, that was that was a bold statement. But when we got back to the hotel,
I was gonna say real quick, the funniest thing Corey Graves has ever done. We have to be escorted by security past the Detroit gangs, and everybody's in this Hummer limo, and then me and him are on the back seats. Corey Graves rolls down his window as the limo is pulling out of the thing and flicks off the Bloods and yells, "Fuck all y'all."
Yeah, and then we made off to our hotel room.
5 minutes away, so they could have easily followed us. This was not a good idea at the time.
Where there was a unnamed member of the AIW roster there who was there with, he did not know a hooker at the time, and so he's banging this girl and he doesn't know that she's a hooker, and she then gets a hold of her pimp, in which several black Suburbans roll in, and the pimp is not what you would expect it to be. The pimp is a 5-foot-tall Latina woman,
well dressed in a white suit,
and says, "I'm here to get my bitch's money." And
because the girl had thought she was off duty, but she wasn't. So she thought she was just fraternizing with the wrestlers while they were in town, the superstars from TV. And this, I was like in the hallway of the hotel on the balcony, and I see these like cars just fucking plow in. And like it looked like a TV show. It looked like an episode of Empire.
You watch Empire?
No, that's pop culture knowledge.
But yeah, so the pimp comes, and that turns into a whole fucking ordeal, and we got to end up hiding the guy that banged the off-duty hooker. And, needless to say, they don't really get any of their money. I guess, there were some drug exchanges and things like that. But those Michigan trips.
And meanwhile, there was a one-legged girl jumping around.
Oh yeah, there was her name was Amber Amputee. She was I think she was staying in my room. I don't know why she was there, but
she was like a famous in the Juggalo scene.
Yeah, but I decided the only thing I brought with me was my buddy Nick Sanko, who is now the AIW bartender, and he was not of age, so I bought a keg. And that's all that was in my room was Nick Sanka and a full keg of Bud Light.
And every off-duty Hooters girl.
Yeah, so he went to Hooters, and he had every off-duty, as soon as they got off shift, Hooters girl in my hotel room waiting.
And a construction crew that was staying in the hotel with us.
Oh, yeah, who's... somebody said, what was that guy's name? He said J-Rock stole his fucking wallet.
Yeah, this guy was named like Pablo. And
he goes, this fucking guy stole my wallet.
So him and J-Rock had a pull-apart brawl at 3 a.m. at this hotel. It was excellent.
Over this stolen wallet. But, yeah, that was just, those Michigan trips were... there's a lot more stuff that happened on them that we probably can't say, but that's probably where we'll leave it on the Michigan trips. I guess another...
I think you got to talk about the time that you almost made $10,000 and the Necro Butcher ruined it.
Okay, well this isn't AIW this isn't an AIW story per se.
Well,
but,
it's an AIW project.
right, but so Colt Cabana wanted to make a Wrestling Road Diaries like documentary at the Gathering of the Juggalos, and like interesting story. I don't know if it's interesting or not, but I was supposed to be the cameraman on Wrestling Road Diaries 1, but I was summoned to be the best man in a wedding, so I had to cancel. And an Englishman named John ended up filming it. But so Colt Cabana's like, I want to make this documentary at the Gathering of the Juggalos. And at the time, we owned these really expensive cameras. This is before we had resort to the pencil starting cameras. This is when we had some like nice like HD, at the time, like high-end stuff. So, and I didn't have a job at the time, so I agreed to go to the Gathering of the Juggalos and film Colt Cabana. But to get there, I had to hitch a ride with the Necro Butcher, which is a fucking ordeal in itself. And AIW referee at the time, who also works for Psychopathic on occasion, Drew Taylor. So I have to sleep at the Necro Butcher's house, which is in the fucking ghetto of like some weird area of Pennsylvania.
Butler, PA, I think, or something.
Not even. It was some other town. Near the border of Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Fucking awful area. The Necro Butcher just has like loaded 9mm like everywhere, just like sitting on the fucking sitting on like a TV tray. And I was like, "What's up with the gun, man?" He goes, "It's a bad neighborhood. You got to be ready for when people try to rob me because it happens all the time." So I'm like, "Oh, sweet,
sleep tight."
So this is where I'm sleeping. Hell of an action figure collection the Necro Butcher had, though. Couldn't even believe it. But so we have to go from Newcastle, Pennsylvania. We're supposed to go to Evansville, Indiana for some booking that the Necro Butcher was booked for.
At the Coliseum.
And then go to the Gathering of the Juggalos. So we're traveling, just boring trip. We get pulled over in Evansville, Indiana by a ton of fucking police officers. It's like they had like a hot tip or something to pull this fucking car over we're in, and it's me, Drew Taylor, the Necro Butcher, and a microwave is sitting in the back seat because Drew Taylor wanted to bring a microwave to the Gathering of the Juggalos to cook his own food.
I think you got to also explain.
I'll get to that part.
Yeah.
But so the Necro Butcher goes, "Well, fuck, guys. I figured now's probably a good time to tell you I got a loaded gun in the car, and I got about 6 ounces of weed." And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm just like trying to hitch a ride. It's just me and a video camera. And I'm trying to get to Colt Cabana. And we're surrounded by police officers. And I'm like, fuck. Like, I'm definitely going to go to jail because I'm in the car, right? I don't know how this works, but, there's no way that they're going to not arrest me when there's loaded fucking weapons in the car and, like, a very illegal amount of marijuana, amongst probably other things. That's just what he told me. So I'm sitting on the curb, and I'm like, fuck, what am I going to do? Who's going to come get me in Evansville, Indiana jail? And then they bring out the fucking drug dogs.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, I'm for sure going to jail. How do you explain that you're not partaking in any of this stuff when you're traveling with a guy that has a gigantic marijuana leaf tattooed on him and he's not even wearing a fucking shirt at the time? So I don't know how this fucking happens. The Necro Butcher has gone on to say this is how he believes that drug dogs are at work. They got the dogs out and they fucking go through the whole fucking car and they don't find a fucking thing.
Oh.
I'm like ready to fucking like run, like I'm just trying to get somewhere to do something with Colt Cabana, and I'm fucking stuck in this car with the Necro Butcher, and somehow they don't find anything. They let us go, and we fucking go on our travels. I don't know how the cops. It wasn't like it was a cop. It was like 6 cops. They don't find the gun. They don't find the drugs. They don't find anything.
What was the reason why they pulled them over in the first place?
Because fucking it was near the Gathering of the Juggalos, and I think they were just pulling over.
So they can't search a vehicle without probable cause. So the drug dog would be probable cause if he didn't get a hit. So
I don't know that they ever explained why they pulled us over. I don't think any of us asked because we were all convinced that we were going to jail for a considerable amount of time because he had a hugely illegal amount of drugs on him. So anyway, then we go to pick up this fucking guy the American kickboxer, who is such a fucking piece of shit. So they promised this guy a ride, and he motherfucks me because I apparently took his seat in the car, and he calls me fucking every name in the fucking book, and I'm just like,
no heat with the microwave though.
yeah. He wants me to just fucking get out of the car so it could be him, Necro Butcher, Drew Taylor, in the microwave. And I was like, put the fucking microwave on your lap, man. And he's like, fuck that. Fuck you. You're a fucking mark. Fuck you. How do you know fucking Colt Cabana? And I was like, dude, I book like some of your students. I think Drake Younger might have been the AEW champion at the time, or he was like just coming off being the champion. And this guy is motherfucking me. He doesn't ride with us, I don't think. And he makes his way to the gathering of the Juggalos, in which he takes some very bad drugs and cries. And I was very fucking happy that this guy had a bad experience, because he was such a fucking asshole to me. I've never experienced someone being such a fucking asshole, and he was. And that's not to I love Drake Younger, but fucking the American Kickboxer was a fucking asshole to me. We get to the gathering of the Juggalos, and it's a fucking spectacle. Everything that you've heard and more. Some of the highlights were Jamie Dundee discovering something called the drug bridge, which was a whole fucking ordeal. And then this is the year that Tila Tequila was attacked by the Juggalos and rocks were thrown at her. Well, I had been filming Colt Cabana, and I filmed this entire fucking ordeal in HD. Perfect footage of just Tila Tequila getting rocked literally rocked by rocks. And my favorite thing about this whole story is this is going on, and Rick Bassman of fucking the Learning Channel, I Want to Be a Pro Wrestler or whatever special.
Sting and Ultimate Warrior.
Rick Bassman goes, it's like me, Colt Cabana, Chris Hero, and Daivari, and Rick Bassman goes, come on, guys, let's go save Tila Tequila. And he disappears into the crowd fighting Juggalos, and none of us followed him. But anyway, so Colt Cabana leaves, and he contacts people at TMZ because this was a big story that Tila Tequila was attacked. And he sets up, basically a $10,000 deal to which we would split the money. All I had to do was get to a computer and upload it by Sunday night, which the gathering was going to be over on Saturday night or something, whatever it was. And
I think it was Monday, and it ended on Sunday night or something.
Right. And whatever happens, whatever the time frame is because you got no service at the gathering of the Juggalos. So I'm thinking I'm going to be home by well before this deadline if we leave as soon as the wrestling's over, which was planned. Well, the Necro Butcher decides, fuck, I don't want to go home to see my family. I want to do drugs in the woods at the gathering. So we have to stay an entire additional night. And by the time I get home, I ended up getting nothing for the footage.
Because you had to drive 40 minutes to get phone service.
Yeah.
And you called me, and I had Radar Online and TMZ bidding, a bidding war, and I think it was over $10,000 at that point.
Right, and all I had to do was get them the footage in the next 10 hours, which we were 8 hours away if we were going to leave when we could have left.
When you were supposed to.
And the Necro Butcher was like, no, man, I just want to do some fucking acid in the woods. I don't want to go home to reality and face.
And weren't you the very last car to pull out of
We were literally the last car to leave the gathering of the Juggalos.
And didn't he want to stop every 5 minutes or something?
Yeah, he just didn't want to go home. And I was like, dude, I fucking have to get home. I don't have a job right now. At that time, I could have lived off $10,000 for 2 years. So, needless to say, that's my little story about
how Necro Butcher cost you $10,000.
Yeah, and traveling with a loaded gun.
Wow, this is crazy. Is there any other for both of you? Any other scary cop interactions?
Nah, I don't know. Not that I could really think
we
of.
called the cops at Necro Butcher one time.
Yeah, but that's a whole different story. No, because I'm not a drug guy.
Right.
And he's not a drug guy. We don't really roll with drug guys. So,
it's weird when we're even like in that environment.
Yeah, we don't really know. That's not our world. So there's really no crazy police like, oh shit, moments like that. There have been plenty of times where I traveled where when I was fucking drunk, but I wasn't driving. One of which is when we went to Chikara, North Carolina. And at the end of the trip, my girlfriend dumped me because she said I'd go on too many vacations with Johnny Gargano.
So here's the scenario: we have to get Johnny Gargano to Chikara in North Carolina. So Thorne was out the night before with his buddies partying.
Crimson of
TNA fame.
Of TNA fame.
So literally, I pick up Johnny Gargano, and Thorne gets dropped off to my car that morning.
Yeah, because I was out all night drinking Four Locos at the time, and then I went to this bar called the Frosty Beaver, which my friend Neil worked at, and it was closed, but he was the bartender and he had the key, so he just like made it into like an after-hour speakeasy type of situation. So I was in there until...
I think we left at 7 a.m. and you got dropped off right at my car.
Yeah, I was in there all night.
So it's about 8 or 9 hours to go to North Carolina where we were supposed to go for Chikara. So we start driving, and you were asleep for probably the first, 3 hours. I think right before we were about to hit Virginia, you woke up, and we had stopped for gas and to use the restroom or whatever, and you were fucking hungry. You had that morning hangover, I got to eat something.
So, I had that, I'm going to be real fucking sick hangover feeling because I had been drinking for 12 hours and in no, specific, rhyme or reason to what I was drinking. I drank Four Locos, I did shots, I drank whiskey. That was at the point in my life where it was real dark drinking times. I was just going through a lot of dark things, so I was drinking heavy all the time. So I drank myself into a fucking oblivion, and then I figured, oh, I'll sleep in the car. Well, when I woke up, I felt like my life was ending, that crazy I'm gonna die sickness feeling when you're drunk. So I decide that the way to cure this is to get 6 McDonald's hash browns.
And not only not any McDonald's, a rest area McDonald's, which is probably worse.
Virginia rest area, 9 o'clock in the morning food, I feel is the cure to what is wrong with me. And I couldn't have been more wrong.
And me and Johnny are just laughing at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really remember too much about it, but I know that
we're speeding down the highway,
and I put my head out the window like a dog.
No, you go, fuck, open the window.
And I throw up everywhere, all over Biggins' mom's car at the time.
Everywhere. It's a black car. You couldn't even tell what color it was.
Stop on the side of the road. I puke out everything that's in my body. I sleep.
No. You get back in the car, and we're like, we gotta go. So you're roll down the window. I need air. So we put the window down and we're driving. All of a sudden, the puke starts flying on me. My hair is completely covered in puke at that point.
Hey, what are you going to do, man? I was going through a dark time.
So we pull into a gas station, whatever the next gas station was, and I go, Thorne, wake the fuck up. You better clean the car. So he has the squeegee from the gas station just scraping an inch of puke off the entire side of the car. People are just taking pictures and laughing at him. And
yeah, I mean, hey, sometimes you got to live. You're going to Chikara. You're going to Chikara, you got to eat 6 hash browns real drunk.
And then immediately after getting out of the gas station, we get pulled over for speeding in Virginia, and the cop just goes, what happened? We're rough
And
night.
he just looked at me, and he was just like, I got it. I understand, man.
Then we got a $200 ticket.
Yeah, well.
So then we go to North Carolina. We eat at a restaurant called Cookout, which is one of the greatest restaurants in the history of the world. We go to the Chikara show. We go and eat Cookout again. Then we drive home.
We drive back, and I walk.
So 8 hours, Cookout, Chikara, Cookout, drive back. We didn't go anywhere else.
I walk in to my apartment, and my girlfriend at the time is there, and she's just like, you know what? We got to break up. You go on too many vacations with Johnny Gargano. And I said, what? I said, I've been gone for 20 hours. It took 16 hours of driving. And she was like, "You go on too many vacations with Johnny Gargano."
Because I think we had gone to King of Trios or something.
And I was like, "Well, I mean, did you think I was at the fucking beach? Like, what do you think I'm doing?"
And she goes, "I want to go with you and go sightseeing."
Yeah, she goes, "I want to go on vacations." I go, "This isn't vacation. We went to go sell merch." And needless to say, that was probably one of the last times I ever saw her. She left that day, and I saw her one time since then.
Weren't her bags packed when you walked in?
Yeah, she was fucking. She had a place. She had a place to fucking live and everything. She was fucking out, and that was it. Because I go on too many vacations with Johnny Gargano.
Jeez.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so many other fucking not like AIW, not so much road stories, but like going to other shows, like going to King of Trios and like fucking Chikara shows and just experiencing these weird like party situations, like traveling with like Drew Cordero. One time Biggins and Drew Cordero almost fought in a hotel room because Drew Cordero
after Ohio Hatchet wrestling.
Drew Cordero was saying that we got to book J-Rock.
So I took off my shoe.
Biggins got so mad at this suggestion, he threw his shoe at his head, and they almost fought.
And then that was Ohio Hatchet Wrestling, and then Thorne was trying to get booked on JCW, the Juggalo Championship Wrestling. That was in Columbus this next night, and Drew Taylor thought he could get you on, but we had to leave in halfway through the show because one of the wrestlers we were traveling with was deadly scared of clowns, and he couldn't handle ICP.
Shout out to Chase Burnett, but that's where we hung out with Coolio though, so that was cool. But yeah,
And Kitty.
Yeah, just fucking weird shit. Like one time we drove Haley Hatred to Jersey All Pro, and then we ended up at dinner with Teddy Hart
and the Necro Butcher.
And the Necro Butcher and some fucking weird people. And Teddy Hart, like he would never probably admit this, and he was, thought he was working us too. But the dude definitely gigged his mouth and said that there was glass in his salad, so he got all his food and drinks comped. Just fucking weird shit that you experience.
And that was also the trip that we were driving home from Rahway, New Jersey, and I'm driving, and Thorne and Haley had fallen asleep, and Thorne was in the passenger seat, and he hits my arm, and he goes, "You okay, man?" I go, "Yeah, why?" He goes, "You're driving with your eyes closed."
Yeah.
And I missed, literally, I can't account for about 3 hours of driving.
Yeah, so, I mean, nothing like... nothing too fucking crazy, but those are just a few of the stories, I guess, that we could talk about, because there's plenty of other things that happen behind closed doors or whatever that we can't necessarily discuss. That guys doing things and girls doing things, and all sorts of weird shit happens when you're
and
on
a
the
lot
road.
involving Steve the Turtle Weiner.
Oh man, I love the fucking Turtle Man. I'm just gonna say that I love Steve the Turtle Weiner.
I think we'll finish off on a story from King of Trios. We were staying in the same hotel as Drew and Steve the Turtle, and we drove to the ECW arena, and it took 15 minutes. Drew showed up 2 hours later, and he said, "Man, our hotel's really far away from the arena." Turned out Steve the Turtle just drove around.
He got lost at the fountain at the hotel.
Yeah, he drove into a pond almost.
I mean, that's not that good of a story, but we'll leave it in.
It was pretty funny to me.
Okay.
So the one thing I learned from this episode is that Honky Tonk Man likes to watch.
Yeah, he doesn't touch; he just watches.
He just watches. All right, it's going to wrap it up. Episode number 7. John, did you want to say something?
I got nothing, man. I'm just trying to think. I hope this podcast is good. I don't know.
A lot of great stories.
Do people like our podcast? Please let me know you like it. I'm very self-conscious.
We love feedback.
Yeah.
I'm very self-conscious about...
Give us 5-star ratings and reviews and help our algorithm.
Okay. Everything you know about podcasts comes from the art of wrestling.
Yeah, sorry.
But, I just wanted to... I just hope people like it, and... we ask all the time, but if there's anything specific you want us to talk about, please tweet us at AI Wrestling and give us topic ideas, because this is the world of on-demand audio is a whole new world for us, and I don't fucking know what to talk about. This is just our lives. So if there's something specific that you want to know about, please ask us.
Yeah, and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Store. So if you have an Apple phone, you can listen on iTunes, Android, Stitcher, or the Google Play Store. So there's plenty of options. If whatever device you have, listen to the show. Leave feedback, like the guys said, on Twitter and Facebook. Let the guys want to know what you guys want to talk about and mention during the show. And go to AIWrestling.com for merch, for events, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everything. AIW is online. And for John Thorne and Chandler Biggins, I'm Glenn Moore, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thanks.